Well, good evening and welcome to the fifth I Am That Woman movement. Let's Talk Tuesday Health and Wellness series. I am so excited that you guys have decided to spend your Tuesday evening 1 hour of power with me. I am Twyla Jenkins, the founder and CEO of the I Am That Woman movement. And I am here tonight to help you all get some information about your financial wellness, something that we all need to be concerned about, especially considering today's climate. We need to know where our nickels, quarters, dimes, dollars, where they're going and how we can stack them because retirement, some of us may be already in retirement. Some of us may be preparing for retirement. Some of us may be really lucky and have years in order to build up for retirement. So we're going to be talking about investing. We're going to be talking about a lot about our money tonight with our special guest. This is called Let's Talk Tuesday. So, our Let's Talk Tuesday series is all about our mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, physical, and nutritional well being. And tonight we are featuring Cassandra Cummings about our financial wellness. Today's agenda will be covering the I Am That Woman movement mission, our 6 pillars of wellness, what we focus on, our daily meditation and prayer, our Transform Your Vision brunch, which we just had. We'll review that. We have an upcoming event, our Women's History Month luncheon, and our 2025 I Am That Woman retreat overview. Yes, you will get a copy of this session. And we'll also talk about why we are doing this particular health and wellness series from the survey that we sent out. And from that survey, we created the Let's Talk Tuesday series. So that's today's agenda. And tonight, what we'll be covering. What is the I Am That Woman movement? We are a 501c3 not-for-profit health and wellness organization leading a global movement to empower women through transformative experiences, essential resources, and impactful connections. We equip women with the tools and support they need to thrive personally and professionally as they navigate and embrace the next phase of their lives. Our work extends across communities locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally, which actually is how we started. Our first retreat was in Mexico, fostering a sisterhood that nurtures growth and supports the many dimensions of women's health, strength, and purpose. That is what we are all about. Our 6 pillars of wellness, again, we focus on our mental, our emotional, nutritional, financial, physical, and spiritual well being to make sure that you are creating a better you. We provide you with information, resources, and events focusing on these 6 pillars of wellness. One of the things that we focus on for our spiritual, our mental, and our emotional well being is every morning, Monday through Friday. This is one of our programs. We have and offer morning mindfulness. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, it's at 5:30 a.m. Central Time. And on Wednesday and Friday, it's at 6:30 a.m. Central Time. And it's just a phone call. So you don't have to get up and get ready. You can kind of shake yourself out of your sleep and slumber. Dial those numbers 351-999-3566. And on Mondays, Dr. Portia Lockett leads us into prayer. She's one of our grief specialists. And so she leads us into prayer. Pam and some of the other ladies have joined. So if there's anyone on the line now who's joined and you want to drop it in the chat, maybe give a little bit of a motivation on how morning mindfulness has benefited you, feel free to do so. But I lead a meditation every morning. We always have a theme every month. In that theme, we talk about, we affirm that theme. So, for instance, our very first month in January, our affirmation, oh, now it's just gonna escape me. And right now we're focusing on greater faith. So we want to have greater and stronger faith in what it is that we're working on, what we're maybe believing God for. It's not a religious thing. You can be any religion, but it's certainly about your spiritual growth. And so we do meditation, and then we take prayer requests. So if there's anything in particular, whether you or a family member has an illness, you want to pray for your marriage, you want to pray for your children, if there's something going on your job, maybe you're in between jobs, but you can certainly call in. You can share your prayer request if you want to. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but we can certainly add you to our prayer request. And we every Monday start the week, and every Friday we end the week with praise reports. And so we share the things that have happened throughout the week that has been really good. And I know it's been very nurturing for me and even for others. Pam's on the line, and others who call in, and they always say that the prayer line is a huge support for their mental, emotional, and spiritual well being. So feel free to call us. And every Friday is Friends and Family, but you can call in anytime. We also just wrapped up our Transform Your Vision Board event. These are some photos. So these are some of the events that we have. We had Sherry Franklin Hill to come in and do a guided meditation about dreaming, because oftentimes we forget about those things that we really want to come to fruition. And as we're at the beginning of the year, we want to be mindful of what we have put inside of our spirits and what we really want to do, and so what we really want to create. So Sherry even went around the room and she helped. And at the end, we shared our vision boards. Mine is right behind me. I want to keep it in front of me so I know what my focus is for the year. And we do this every year, and it's always the first Saturday in February. Even the New York Times said that the best time to do your vision board is actually in February. Let January come through. It's the first of the year, but you might want to be focusing on some things. But by February, you kind of know what it is that you want to do for the year. So it's always the first Saturday or Sunday, first weekend, I should say, in February. And so we had a wonderful turnout, great time. I think the ladies really enjoyed it. And if there's anyone who joined this year and you want to share your experience at this year's Vision Board event, feel free to do so. We also have our next event coming up. Sorry, I know there's a little bit of a delay. Algie's just waiting for me to finish up. We also have our next event coming up. Save the date. Our Women's History Month luncheon is Sunday, March the 30th, 2025. This year, it's from 12 to 4. Registration will be opening soon. We are finalizing those details. And these are some of the photos from last year when we honored media mavens. And so all of those ladies up there in that first picture are the media mavens who we gave awards to last year. This is some of our board members and volunteers, and these are just a couple of the extra photos from the wonderful event, the wonderful experience. It's wonderful sisterhood, and it's a great time. So you want to come out, support us. We are a nonprofit. This year, we're going to be honoring nonprofit leaders. And so you want to come out, and I'll give you a sneak peek. At last year's event, we have a little bit of a sizzle reel of a video on the next slide, and you can see for yourself what type of a stellar events that we. So you can see that we have a really good time at our events, and I hope that you will be joining us this year. Again, registration will be opening soon, so make sure you follow us on social media so you will know and you will join us. Now, our number one event and what we're really known for, but we're not just a retreat, we are a movement, but our annual, and this will be our sixth retreat, is the I Am That Woman retreat. It is an extraordinary experience that takes women through a powerful journey of learning and self discovery. This process provides you with tools and resources to refine your next phase of life on your terms to live in your destiny. It's where you connect with compelling speakers, influential women, and robust content that feeds your mind, your body, and your spirit. It's where personal and business development meet and creates a powerful movement within. For the first time, we're going to be doing a regional retreat, and it's going to be in Kohler, Wisconsin, October 29th through November the 2nd. It's all about the spa experience. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with Kohler and Kohler, Wisconsin, it's only about 2 hours away from Chicago. So it's within driving distance. We will have a shuttle. So if you don't want to drive yourself, we'll have transportation details to go and to come back October the 29th through November the 2nd. And this is a spa immersion experience. So we are going to the spa, which is absolutely amazing. I just came back from a site visit a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people are like, I've always wanted to go to Kohler, but it's like $800 a night. So you can come with us and pay a fraction of that to be able to have this experience. We're even working on special guest speakers who'll be coming in and talking about what happens to your body, and are there natural healing practices that happens when you go to the spa. So oftentimes we go with our girlfriends and we're relaxing, but what really is your body going through when you are in the jacuzzi or the steam room or the sauna? Or most of the time we avoid the cold plunge, but we really should do it, especially if we have any type of inflammation in our bodies, arthritis in our bodies, and a lot of other ailments that can really heal us in the spa. And so this year, we're really going to do that whole spa immersion experience. So the next time that you may be dealing with some issues, some chronic issues, you know how to go to the spa and use it for healing, not just to go and have a good girlfriend time, but literally it may have some healing modalities for your body. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. Also, nutrition. We'll still be focusing on some of our pillars of wellness, but we're going to Kohler, Wisconsin specifically to be able to enjoy the spa. We'll have more details about the spa. There's pictures that we've taken and that we've shared that we'll be sharing, and we'll be creating our landing page as we're wrapping up our contract negotiations. But trust you me, you want to put these dates on your calendar, and you want to stay tuned for this year's Kohler Spa experience. Last year, we were in St. Thomas. I know Wisconsin is not St. Thomas, but our focus is a little different. And last year, we had a wonderful video recap of the experience we had in St. Thomas. And we'll be back in St. Thomas in 2026.
I wanted to bring the ladies to a place where they could feel the spirit of our ancestors. And truly, this is a place that resonates the strength, the courage, the passion that our ancestors had to have, but yet we survived, and yet we are still fighting, and yet we are still thriving in our culture, we are thriving in our womanhood, we are thriving in our sisterhood. And we've come to this place to pay our respects. We've come to this place to feel our courage to come up for our next, because they had to fight for their next. They had to fight for their freedom. And even now, in 2024, we are still fighting for our freedom. We are fighting for our freedom politically. We are fighting for our freedom in the boardrooms. We are fighting for our freedom in the courtrooms. We are fighting for our freedom as women. We are fighting for our rights every single day. Being on this ground gives me the strength and the courage to keep fighting. That is the mission of the I Am That Woman movement.
I am that woman!
Video clip that we have an amazing time and experience wherever we go. And even though we're only going to Wisconsin, it's not going to be any different. It's going to be absolutely fabulous and absolutely amazing. And especially considering the spot experience that we are going to have in Wisconsin. So you might be asking, why are we doing this 6-week wellness series that's called Let's Talk Tuesday? Every Tuesday for the past 6 weeks, we have had a different pillar of wellness that we have talked about, because we sent out a survey, and the survey results indicated some of the things that women wanted to talk about and some of the issues that women have. And a lot of those things really were all around what we're talking about tonight. So whether it was about their finances, or whether it was about they wanted to talk about staying fit and sustainable, eating patterns, problems associated with aging. I won't read each one, but what I want you to know is we listen to you. We are here to provide you with information, resources, and events that talks about those 6 pillars of wellness to help you ladies. So this is a women's wellness movement for you and by you. And so not only do we send out surveys, but we listen to what you are telling us, and then we turn around and provide you with information, resources, and events to help you live better. This content is completely free right now. We want to make sure that you know how to access us. We're revamping our website. We're going to have a membership campaign. So there's a lot on the horizon. We just started in 2019, and in these few short years, we've been able to produce a lot of content and give you access to a lot of speakers: Susan Taylor, Kim Coles, Tracy Edmonds, Regina Bell, Cassandra Cummings, Dr. Portia Lockett, and so Valerie Tyler, and even next week with Karen Calabrese, so many others. And so you want to stay a part of this movement, and you can go to IamThatWomanMovement.org. If you're not already in our database, sign up and get that free 6 weeks of our week of free content about your health and wellness. And so that is why we created this 6-week series called Let's Talk Tuesday, because you said you wanted to know more information about these 6 pillars of wellness. So every Tuesday, we've been doing that. And because last week we rescheduled, I forgot to put the new one. So next week actually will be nutritional, and that is February the 25th. So you can join us next week. So for the past 6 weeks, like I said, and there are recordings. So if you want any of these recordings, on Tuesday, January the 14th, we did spiritual wellness. And I'm just going to flip through these really quickly. January the 21st, we did mental wellness, where we had Dr. Algene Garner and Dr. Lisa Green. Our emotional wellness was with one of our amazing speakers from St. Thomas. And again, we have the recording of all of these. So if you would like any of these, please let me know. And I'm going to have you send me an email to let me know if you want a recording of any of these. I've been trying to send them out, but for some reason, sometimes your emails bounce back. So I don't know if I have to do them individually or what, but I am that woman movement.org is my email address, and you can send that to me. I mean, you can make that request. And so we had physical wellness with Valerie Tyler, our fitness guru, which was absolutely amazing. And then we skipped a week, and then we're back tonight with our financial wellness. And next week is when we will be with Karen Calabrese on our nutritional wellness. And so perfect timing tonight, February the 18th. And a shout out to my sister Tyree. It's her birthday. So if you all don't mind, please drop a happy birthday to my sister in the chat. Give her a little happy birthday love, because I appreciate her being on her little break, and she is still here tonight. I might even make her come on if she's ready. I don't know at the end if she wants to share some things. So yes, please give her some happy birthday love. I'm the 9th. She's the 18th. My other sister is the 22nd. My brother's the 25th. My mama was busy in February. So 4 boys in January, 4 kids in February. I'm number 10 of 11. So happy birthday, sis. I absolutely love you. Well, without further ado, I want to introduce you to our speaker tonight. Cassandra Cummings actually is no stranger to the I Am That Woman movement. She has been with us in Florida at the retreat in 2022, and then she came back with us in St. Thomas last year in 2024. She's always filled with so much knowledge and so much information. So I want to bring y'all on to my sister Cassandra Cummings. What's up, girl?
Hey, how you doing? I'm nursing a little cold here tonight, but I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me back. I always enjoy coming through for I Am Woman, and you my sis, so I'm here.
I appreciate that, and I hope and pray that you feel better soon. I was just talking to one of our board members, Angela, and she too is having a cold. So, my goodness, I know it's going around. Y'all gotta make sure y'all send y'all some echinacea. So help y'all get better, get some rest. Probably, I know you probably need some rest.
Yeah, my body's telling me to slow down.
Slow down a little bit. Well, welcome, and thank you for pushing through and being here tonight. Cassandra, I know who you are, and you are absolutely amazing. She's the founder of Stocks and Stilettos. Y'all see her book in her background. I have it right here as well. Fearless Finances. The sister is bad. But tell us a little bit about who you are and how you started Stocks and Stilettos.
Yeah, well, like Twyler said, I'm Cassandra Cummings. I'm the founder of Stocks and Stilettos Society. We have over 100,000 Black women investors in our community, and we reach about 250,000 people across all social media. I'm a financial advisor. I came out of Merrill Lynch, Bank of America. I work for some Fortune 500 financial institutions. I'm originally from the Oakland, California area. And I've just really been out here, speaking the financial gospel specifically to Black women in particular. But, that audience is growing and it's broadening, because I think that a lot of women need financial literacy. They need to become comfortable talking about money and so forth. And so that's pretty much a little bit about who I am. And I started Stocks and Stilettos really because a friend recommended that I start a Facebook group. When I left Merrill Lynch, I was not proficient at all on social media. And she's like, oh, you should start a Facebook group. And I'm like, what is that? So here we are, almost 10 years later. We've been pretty much teaching women how to invest in the stock market and learn how to get this free money, as they say.
Free money. We all like free money. We like the sound of that, and we like the results of that. So tonight I chose like 4 or 5 points of discussion, and Algene, you can bring that up. But we're gonna let the conversation flow. You guys know who's joined before. You know, it's very organic, and while we have these particular points of discussion, if there are things that you want to share in particular, and as Algene is bringing the presentation back up, one of the things that's not a question, but I just want to kind of put it out there, considering the political climate and everything that's going on right now, and with the market, just give us a little bit of tidbits of advice on just where we are, and when it comes to investing. Is now a good time to even be considering investing? Just what's your viewpoint on where we are right now?
Yeah, I think it's always a good time to invest. It's always a good time to invest because it's not about when you get into the market, it's about the amount of time you're in the market. There's a saying that you shouldn't time the market, but it's about the time that you're in the market. And so the longer that you can basically have your money being seasoned in the market, the better off you will be. A lot of times, I think that we're programmed to think that the stock market is going to be this get rich quick situation, but we really need to allow compounding to take effect when we are investing in the stock market. I think now is a great time to invest in the stock market. The current administration, with the president, he is business minded. And knowing that he's business minded, he uses the stock market as his scorecard. And basically, if the stock market is not performing, he's going to be doing things to keep the stock market going in an upward direction. So you want to basically ride this wave because it's going to be, constantly going up. The stock market is designed to go up. Today, the S&P 500 hit another all-time high. A lot of Black people are still sitting on the sidelines, or they don't have enough money invested in the stock market to really see how powerful the stock market can be.
So that's really our first question: our financial well-being, budgeting, saving, and debt management. Cassandra, what, as Black women, as you just said, too many of us are sitting on the sidelines. Too many of us are even not spending less in order to save more. When it comes to budgeting, saving, and debt management, what should we be doing?
I think budgeting, I think the fundamental aspect of budgeting, if you stick to like the 50-30-20 aspect of budgeting, like 50% goes to your housing, 30% is going to go towards, those things, mailbox bills, things of that nature. And then 20% is going to go to your investing and saving aspect. So if you're saving 20% of your take home income, it will take care of you in the long run. You have to get your savings rate up as high as possible. We have women come all the time who have what we call, they have actually experienced FIRE, which is financial independence, retire early. One of the ladies that I'm working with currently, she has reached FIRE at the age of 41. And it took her about 4 years of saving 50% of her income. And she didn't make a lot of money. I think she made, she was making about 80,000. And eventually, over that 4-year period, it went up to maybe like 120,000. But if you could really figure out how to structure your bills in such a way where you can live off of 50% of what you bring in, or 70% of what you bring in, you will definitely see a difference if you're able to save a significant amount. And it's a short-term sacrifice. She's not scrimping and getting by now. But, she basically had a plan, executed on that plan. And in 4 years, she was able to walk away from her job and not look back. And her portfolio has grown by leaps and bounds because the stock market has done all of the heavy lifting now that she put that money in, over that 4 year period.
So it doesn't even take necessarily a long time. So first of all, let me go back to the 50, 30, 20 rule.
20.
So
Right.
ladies and gentlemen, I know we may have one or two gentlemen here, but 50, 30, 20. So write that down. I should always tell people to bring your notepad. We are here to we are here to educate you. We are here to make sure that you take this home and start applying this to your life. And something that you said that is really critical, even if you have not invested before, even if you don't have any money in the stock market, one thing that we know for sure, this administration, and listen, there's a lot that we may have in contrary belief to this administration, but we know that our current administration believes in measuring their success on how much money they are making. There's no reason why we need to be left out of that. There's no reason why we have to continue to sit on the sidelines and not make the money too. And so, Cassandra, making sure that we do that at a minimum, the 50, 30, 20 rule, and to your point, even investing more. So we need to right now make sure that we have a budget. I just want you guys, no judgment. This is a safe space. Right now, just drop it in the chat. Do you have a budget? Do you have savings? And are you making sure that you're doing debt management? That's a yes and a no. And I know even for me, I'm here to learn, and I'm here to grow, and I'm here to do what you tell me to do. So I know I can save a whole lot more, and I know I can budget a whole lot more. And I definitely want to start diversifying my portfolio to invest in the market a whole lot more. So just a yes or no, ladies, no judgment. Do you have a plan? Are you budgeting? Are you saving? Do you have debt management? And are you investing? Are you an investor in the stock market? All right. Investment and retirement, building security through smart investments and planning. You actually have programs that women can join who may be a little fearful about the stock market. How do we build security through smart investments and planning?
I mean, the best way to build security is by doing it. We learn by doing it. We become more confident by doing something repetitively, which is why you have to set up your investing plan to be on autopilot or automatic. So you should be saving a set amount every single month, hook or crook. So whatever that number is for you, if it's $500, if it's $2,000, it should be whatever you find is going to work for you. And people say pay yourself first. They say that for a reason. It's because nobody else is going to take care of you. And I like to say you owe you, right? Just like E.T. the hip hop preacher, you owe you. So when you go through your budget, I don't actually call it a budget. I call it a spending plan, because as I get inflows, that money has already been earmarked for the most part to flow out somewhere, some other way. And so when you're investing, right, the best way to become secure in your investing is to actually do it. So if you don't, I always tell my ladies, my stocks and stars, you should have at least two accounts. You should have a brokerage account and you should have a retirement account. So that could be a Roth IRA. It could be a 403B, 457, 401k if you are connected to an employer. If you're self-employed, you should have a SEP IRA. So you should have minimum two types of investment accounts. Now, your checking and savings account, that doesn't count. You should definitely have those. But outside of those accounts, you should have those two. If you have a Roth IRA, you can basically put away 7,000 if you're under 50, 8,000 if you're over 50, and you should max out that account every single year. 8,000, you've got to find that in your budget to max out. that account each and every year. And you should invest, if you don't know what type of investments or what stocks to pick, you should invest in an S&P 500 fund at a minimum. So those are the three things I would say to become secure. Have those two accounts, brokerage account and a Roth IRA. The second thing is that you should max out 8,000 a year if you're over 50. And that works out to be, I think, like $600 a month or something. And then the third thing is that you want to invest in an S&P 500 index fund. So those three things, I tell all my ladies all the time, that is just, the best recipe I can give you for setting yourself up for success long term.
That is some good advice, ladies. I hope you got all of that in your, I'm trying to take notes, and I'm gonna ask somebody to take some notes. Hope you got those 3 points. Hope you wrote that down. And we even had a question, and we'll be answering questions in just a second. Some of the ladies on the line are entrepreneurs. And so when it comes to being an entrepreneur, it's a little different for us because we're not clocking in, and we don't have a W-2, and we got to do our taxes a little different. What are some resources and strategies for Black women-owned businesses? What would you say what's most important for us?
I mean, I think what's most important is that you have to really understand if your business is seasonal, because oftentimes we could be in types of industries where we could have a boom, like around Black Friday. A lot of people make 30% of their revenue for the year during that particular season, and really understanding that, okay, I have to figure out how I can basically spread my savings over the year if in fact I'm going to have these ebbs and flows to my income or my revenue. The good thing about being an entrepreneur is that the tax code actually rewards you for being an entrepreneur. And so you have the ability to have a ton of deductions and write-offs. You have the ability to invest in what's called a SEP IRA, SEP IRA, I think it's a simplified employee. What does that mean again? I gotta remember. I want to say it's a simplified employee pension, but that's not the acronym. But it's a SEP IRA, and you could actually put away $62,000 a year in that, and you also have until October 15th to fund that, and you also get tax incentives for basically funding your own retirement. So it is like the best thing if you are an entrepreneur, because you can put away a lot more in your retirement accounts, and you get the tax deduction for doing so. So I think as an entrepreneur, I would say, figure out, your seasonality when it comes to your revenue, and really try to, smooth over your contributions to your investment accounts based on, the ebbs and flows of your revenue. And it will be the same advice: contribute to your SEP IRA, contribute to your Roth IRA, and then invest in index funds or individual stocks if that's, what you want to do.
You were right. It's a simplified employee pension.
Yeah, simplified. I mean, it's been a long time. And I mean, I have my own, but it's been a long time since I just call it a SEP for short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. And for me, like, I am an entrepreneur and I have a Roth IRA. So is there a big difference between the Roth and the SEP?
So the SEP is on a pre-tax basis, and it's set up for entrepreneurs or self-employed people. You could put up to 62,000, I think, for 2020, 2025. The difference is that the Roth is going to be after tax or tax free when you start to take the money out, but you can only put 8,000 if you're over 50. So it's not as much that you can put in the Roth. And the problem with that is, you can only put in 8, and it's going to be with after tax money. So you're not going to get any kind of tax incentives on the Roth, not in the beginning. But in the end, you'll be able to take the money out tax-free.
Got you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Ladies, drop questions in the chat. We'll also be taking questions at the end. All right, generational wealth, creating a financial legacy for future generations. Oftentimes, you know, our communities are struggling in one generation, and we can't help those that are coming behind us. What's the importance of us really creating generational wealth, and what's the best way for us to do that?
Wow, that's a really loaded question. I mean, I think what we really have to do is focus on moving through those different cycles of wealth building. The first is pretty much survival, right? And a lot of times, many of our generations are not able to make it out of that particular bucket. We're constantly stuck in survival mode. So I think you got to really figure out the different things that you have to do to get yourself out of survival mode. One is you got to secure your housing, right? And typically, if you buy a home, that can lock you into having your housing costs to be constant. A lot of times with the Black community, we're constantly moving around a lot. And so, or we're renting, things like that, where rent is escalating over, you know, I've never been in a situation where my rent has gone down, right? If I've rented before. So once we buy a home, we're able to then lock in and keep our housing costs fairly constant. And that helps us to start the wealth building process. So once we can kind of lock in that housing, minimize our overhead expenses, then we can move into the second phase, which is stability, right? So now we've got our housing covered. We probably have, you know, our kids are, you know, teenagers, or they're moving into college. So now we've got a little bit more wiggle room in our budget to really start focusing on eliminating debt, or beefing up our savings and our investment accounts. So once we kind of get to that stability phase, we may be able to even start to look at alternative investments, whether that be rental properties, or you know, investing in other things that are going to create passive income for you, or something of that nature. So really building out your investment portfolio. And then that third phase that I like to call the surplus phase. So now you've built up, you know, enough savings. People are sitting on 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, and they're like, what do I do? I've been a great saver. I've, you know, been accumulating all this money. Now what can I do? And that's going to open you up to do a lot of other investment type of things. If you become an accredited investor, you may get access to good real estate deals. You may get access to angel investing. You may get access to just a plethora of investment opportunities that you wouldn't get invited to participate in if you're not an accredited investor. And then the fourth phase, I would say, is to really do what is called capital preservation. So making sure you have a trust, making sure you have insurances in place should something happen. What we're going through right now in our circle is making sure you have an emergency financial readiness program. We see planes crashing. We see fires going on. We see, you know, people coming through the streets, you know, doing crazy things. I was telling people, I've been here in Oakland, California for most of my life. And in December of 2024, we got a tsunami alert. I've never seen a tsunami alert in all my life living here. And I said to myself, what in the world am I supposed to do if I have to pick all my stuff up and move expeditiously, right? And God knows, a tsunami? How do you even prepare for that? So I think that we have to make sure that we're always ready. So now, because of that, I made sure that I have a fireproof, waterproof thing if I need to take my stuff and move quickly. I've got documents that, a document holder, like all of these things. People have fireproof, waterproof safes, things that your passports, like things that you can grab, extra debit cards or whatever the case may be, cash at home, should you have to move quickly. So just think about those things if you are, in fact, in a particular area where you might have flooding or you may have a hurricane or anything of that nature, making sure that you can pick up and move quickly. And then the last thing I would say, make sure you have a trust. That is going to be the best way in which you can leave generational wealth without having Uncle Sam basically raid all of the money that you've worked so hard for. Because if your estate has to go to probate, it's going to be locked up in probate. And to be honest, it's going to be the attorneys that come out on top and not your family members. They usually take anywhere from 60 to 70% of whatever your estate is worth. And then the rest will be divided between your heirs if you do not have a trust. If you have a trust, usually you can circumvent probate and you don't have those tax implications on your estate like you would have, if it goes through probate.
Great information, ladies. This has been so good, Cassandra. I appreciate you so much. We do have a couple of questions. One is, I have savings, no budget. What stock market is best for me? I'm receiving a pension. So she's on a pension, she has savings, but she doesn't really live on a budget. But what would you suggest for her as far as investing in the stock market? Where should she start?
I mean, I think that she could do like the S&P 500. It sounds like she's already in retirement. So I wouldn't put a significant amount of the money at risk. But you want to do, something that keeps your money growing at or above inflation. So you don't really need to invest aggressively, but if you had something that was conservative or moderately conservative, you can look at some utility funds. You could look at, um, even the Dow Jones, those companies, there are 30 companies within the Dow Jones. And if you pick like a couple of those companies and you invest and you got the dividends, you probably would, beat inflation on that money. You can look at treasuries, possibly. So I wouldn't do anything overly complicated. You could get stock in, McDonald's and possibly Coca-Cola, some of these companies that have been around forever and they pay generous dividends, Walmart, just pick a few companies that have been around, blue chip type companies, and invest in those and you'll be fine.
Awesome. Thank you. Another question. Can you speak briefly on the current challenges in insurance, homeowners, and health? Would this be part of the 50% of the housing, etc. rule?
Yeah, I'm not, I have a different philosophy when it comes to insurance. Now they have a lot of, they kind of like fast casual type of insurance plans. Like Costco now, I think, has health insurance plans. Amazon has health insurance plans. And that's what I look to because I'm an entrepreneur. And so I was under Covered California and my monthly premium was like $900 and something for a silver plan on a PPO. And that's an exorbitant amount of money, mind you. They're really trying to take from the rich and give to the poor, if you will. So, I ended up coming out of Covered California. I got a plan under Amazon, very reasonably priced. And so I think you just got to do your research and see what's best for you and your family. But I think that we've been programmed to believe that, I mean, if you're with an employer, that's different, right? Because you are subjected to whatever they offer. But when you're an entrepreneur, you have freedom to look around at different plans. And it would be a part of that 50% of, your of your budget. But yeah, I mean, same thing with like my vision. I go to Costco and I pay like $120 for my vision, and I go twice a year. I love my optometrist there. He's a great guy. He gets on me about my eyes sometimes. And then my dental plan, I just went to the dentist the other day. My cleaning and my x-rays were like $320, and I pay that like once a year. I go to the dentist twice a year, but my second time is maybe like $120, and I take really good care of myself. So that's how I minimize my costs as well. So I try to take really, really good care of myself. I try to eat well, I try to exercise well. I paid a lot before on my dental work. And so after I got some cavities, they put the white filling in, I paid a lot of money. So now I just take care of my teeth and I take care of my health as much as I can. And so that's how I try to minimize my costs. Because when you don't take care of yourself, then things get really expensive.
Yes, it does. And that's why we're here too, is to make sure that we are, um, to make sure that we are providing all of these ladies with information on how to take care of themselves. So thank you for that. Are IPOs good investments? That's another question that came in.
It depends. I mean, it depends on the company. There's been some really good IPOs, and there's been some IPOs that didn't do very well. So it just really depends on the company. And sometimes it takes IPO companies that have went public or have gone public. It takes them a few years to sort of catch their rhythm. You know, so if you are invested in IPOs, you might have to wait it out before you are able to really see any, significant growth in them. But most retail investors like us, we can't get in pre-IPO. So when they say, oh, they're going to go public and they're going to offer it for like $35 a share, you oftentimes can't get it at that price if you're not already like rich. And you've got to get it after it hits the market. And by that time, $35 have shot up to like 70, $80 or whatever. So, IPOs, I don't want to say, they're really for like rich people, but you can get in after they go public, and you probably just got to wait it out. I mean, I think about companies like when Facebook went public, most people were able to get in on it at like, 35, $34 a share. But, when did Facebook go public? Maybe like 20 years ago, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, let's just say Facebook went public like 20 years ago. And now look at the stock. The stock is like $700 a share. So are you willing to wait it out for 20 years to see your investment grow that much? That's why you can't time when you get in the market. But look, had you been in Facebook for 20 years, it would be worth like 700 and some dollars a share right now. So you've got to get in when you can. I think about Instacart. Like Instacart went public a couple years ago, right? So Instacart went public, and it's been only a couple of years. But if you got into Instacart and you're waiting it out, it could very well be another Facebook stock in 5, 10, 15 years, right? You just got to wait it out. So yeah, IPOs, it's not a get rich quick. It's not a hit it and quit it type of thing. It doesn't matter. You're still going to have to wait it out.
All right. Thank you. I hope that answered all of the questions. If there's any more, ladies, please. We're finished with the presentation questions, so I'm going to take that down. And then one of the things that you talked about, you mentioned briefly, and before we wrap up, I want to talk about it, and that's passive income. I think we're going to do a bonus session with a couple of people who offer passive income opportunities. We have a lot of federal workers who are being laid off. We have the job market is getting ready to, I have relatives and friends who have been looking for jobs for years and have still not landed a job. So we might be looking at passive incomes. Any tips on how you get into passive incomes? And actually, for those who may not know, what is passive income and why should we have some levels of passive income?
Well, passive income is basically money that you don't have to necessarily work for, right? So it's generating income on its own. And one thing about passive income is you got to get active before you get passive, right? So you've got to be able to figure out what are going to be these streams, right? We should at minimum have 3 income streams and or more. So assess where you have your money coming from. If you only get one stream of income, maybe a W-2 or a paycheck, you're putting yourself at risk, right? Because if you lose that one income, then it's very difficult to, come back from that. I think when you think about passive income, we look at dividend income in the stock market. So we buy companies and they generate a dividend income and we're able to use that income for whatever, right? But we had to get active first because we had to put that money in the stock market in order for us to get passive income back. We think about that if you buy rental property, right? You buy a rental property and now the passive income is that person paying you rent. You had to get active first, qualify to get the rental property, and now you can get a passive income. Same thing if you got a rental property and you Airbnb it out, right? So you've got to be strategic about what it is you want to set up. Some people are doing vending machines. Some people are doing themeless pages on the Instagram and TikTok and all this type of stuff. So people are finding ways in which they can have multiple streams of income. So I think you got to just really assess what you're able to do. Maybe it's baking cakes and then you put your cakes out there and show people that you're able to do cakes, or you're braiding hair, but maybe you sell, you know, some sort of braiding gels or braiding pomades and combs and things like that that you could sell that would complement what you're already doing. So, yeah, I mean, I think you have to figure out there's so many different ways in which you can derive passive income, but you want to think about what's complementary to you. I think on one of my posts somewhere, I put where I had like some crazy number of income streams. I wrote a book, I have an online store, I have memberships, I've invested in hotels. I speak, I get paid to speak. So there's so many different things that are working for me, where I can sort of, draw income from throughout the year. So just think about your skill set, think about the different things that you could do that would generate additional income. There was one thing I wanted to add to the budgeting piece too, because Twyla, I know that you guys are getting ready to get married. Yay. But one thing I used to advise my younger couples to do was to really figure out how to live off of one income. And they could then accelerate their savings. I remember this one couple, the guy was making like $150 and the lady was making like 90K. And so they decided they were going to just live off of his income and that they would save 100% of her income so that she could eventually, because she had 2 small children, but the goal was for her to eventually be a stay-at-home mom, and they executed on that.
That is a great point. And so thank you so much for all of these tips. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to change the view from just us to everybody. Is there any other questions before we go? Anybody want to raise their hand? Anybody want to say anything aloud? I know, Cassandra, I've learned so much. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this. I wasn't able to like pay attention and take all the notes that I wanted to take, so I'm gonna go back and watch this again. Anybody else have any questions, or anybody want to add anything? Drop it in the chat or raise your hand. Come offline. Thank you so much. I know we're at our time. I'm going to do a bonus session. So you talking about passive income. And I know Tyree and I have been talking about opportunities to help women to have some passive income. And there's many who are on jobs, they've been on jobs, but they might have some time to do something on the side where you can make some money. And so we're going to do a bonus session, because I think, to your point about where the administration is right now, we need to take advantage of stacking our dollars. We need to take advantage of the stock market. We need to take advantage of being able to learn that we can come out on top in 4 years. All things ain't working against us, because if we play the game right, then we should be able to come out on top, at least financially. And so that's saving more, that's investing more, and that's certainly spending less. And so we know that the cost of living is going up, eggs have gone up. We're going to see things not even available when it comes to the supply chain. And so we really have to be financially wise right now. So I want to say thank you so much, Cassandra. Any other questions before we go, ladies? Anybody else have any questions? Want to drop anything?
Yeah, thank
Good to
you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, ladies, we're at our time. I told you I'm good about making sure that I start and end on time. We started about 7:05. It is 8:08. Thank you so much, Cassandra. I appreciate you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I'll be sending out the recording, but like I said, please send me an email if you do not get the recording. Please send me an email if you want to get it. Have a good night. Until next week with our nutritional wellness, we will have Karen Calabrese. So next week, let's talk Tuesday at 7 p.m. Bye, guys.
Bye.